But you're not the owner of the ship until you claim it. Until you claim that estate held in trust. You're just the purser. You're the signatory. And if you look at Wikipedia, it says the signatory officer, the purser on the ship, is responsible for all the bills of lading, port taxes, and fees, docking charges, and replenishing the supplies of the ship. So when the wife goes to the grocery store and buys food, and she brings it home, she's just replenishing the supplies of the business. The ship, the shipping company, in commerce. And that's the only thing government can regulate is the ship. And they can only regulate the ship as long as they own it. What I'm telling you is to take control of your ship. Be the owner, not just the purser on board. Don't be the person, the citizen, the resident. It's not called a citizenship for nothing. You understand that now? Is that a better explanation? Gives you help? Hey, I'm in business. I'm either just the signatory responsible for all the bills and the taxes and the replenishment of the ship, and not being able to control where it goes and what port it goes into, or control anything else about it, or I'm the owner of the ship and I control everything about it. That's the difference on whether you own your all caps name or not. It's what we have: copyrights, trademarks, contracts, trusts, private membership associations. This is why all those things exist, is so that you can take control of your ship until you subdue it. What does the word subdue mean in ancient Hebrew? To know it. To know it so well that you can control it. Now in the military and in our police forces, they're taught to subdue. It means throw it on the ground, put his hands behind his back, put cuffs on it, and put their boot on their neck. They might not be doing that so much after Floyd, but you know. Thing is to know it, to control it. What is the law? Land, air, and water. Genesis 1, 26 through 28. In Genesis 1, God created all things. He's the executor of the estate. Everything we have is His. We come in this world naked, we leave naked. He owns everything. We own nothing. We can control things, but we don't own it. And He gives it to me, mankind. And He says, take dominion of the land, the air, and the water, and everything therein. And subdue it. It means to know it. To know everything there is about it, to take control of it. And the land became common law. Common to all mankind is property, equity, and rights is what this nation was founded on. Property rights. Because the people in England couldn't own their own land. That's why we came to this country. That's why God put people in the desert for 40 years. Put Moses in the desert to lead, and then taught him to lead the slaves out of Egypt. And He parted the sea, and He says, go inherit the land. Right? All through the Bible, He's leading the slaves out of captivity. The air is ecclesiastical or canon law. That's trust law. Trust law. So this is property, equity, and rights. This is trust. And the water is admiralty or contract law. All things are either held in trust, held in title, or held in contract. That's law. It's very simple. Your Honor, I'm fully unaware of any contract that could compel me to perform. If there is such a contract, bring it forward, and I'll follow it to the full extent of the law. But if there isn't, then we're done here. Please dismiss this case with prejudice, and we'll go have tacos. Because when you're dealing with municipalities, there must be a contract. And we know the 8 elements of the contract, don't we? I'm still working on how we get paid. I'm just jumping around a lot. The state courts create the GSA program, and the federal court clerks buy all the court cases of the state, the criminal cases of the state, through the GSA program. And that's how the states make money, through the federal courts. And then the federal courts, because they're the only ones with access to the Department of Fiscal Services and the Treasury to take money out of your trust based upon the penal sums of the crime, they fill out the SF 273, 274, 275 form and the surety form and others. And they fill those out online with the Department of Fiscal Services to collect upon the bonds. And they're purchased by reinsurers who sell them on Wall Street. Everything is a bond program in this country. Everything. Every hunting license you buy, every fishing license you buy, every gun permit, concealed weapons permit is a bond. Your driver's license are bonds, your car registrations are bond. If you register something, it's a bond. If you register your business, the bonds are sold. Stop funding the cabal. Stop it. Come out of her, O ye Babylon. Get out of the corporate construct. Free men don't ask permission. Do what's right. Live by God's laws. If you live by God's laws and the Ten Commandments, you can't break any other law. Because there won't be any victims. And if you should accidentally hurt someone else, well, there's a way to handle that through your trust too. And you don't need State Farm to do it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're dressed all in black at night, and you're just innocently crossing the crosswalk. And maybe it's cold, maybe it's raining, and I just don't see you out the windshield of my car. And I make a turn around the corner, and I run over your foot on accident. When you're an American state national, a brother and sister of Christ, you operate on a higher level. So your first job is to pull over, stop your car, help your brother out on the street, on the sidewalk to safety. Call 911 and get him medical attention. And while you're waiting for them, and you're loving on your brother with all your heart and soul, and you're sorry, and you're repentive, and you say, we're going into partnership with each other. Is that okay? I'm going to help you sue me. You just concentrate on getting well. And if you're off work for 3 months, we'll take care of it. If you have any hospital bills, we'll take care of it. If you have any needs at all, we'll take care of it. And if I should run over or kill one of my neighbor's sheep, I got to replace it with 4 sheep, so we're going to replace your damages times 4 to make sure you're made whole. Is that okay with you? If we go into that part? partnership, and I help you. Now, your job, while he's healing, is to go into your probate judge, where you've already claimed your estate, and put on a claim on the man's behalf, and restore him and his family out of your trust. And believe me, there's a lot of money in that trust. It's not a problem. If you've done your job right, that's how it works. And you don't need State Farm to do it. You don't need the police. You don't need anyone. It's man on man. As a partnership. As God wants it to be. Go to your neighbor. Take care of the problem. And we don't need anything else. It's strictly a civil trust matter before the court. And when you do that, you're going in equity, and the judge is on your side. Because you're taking the court in equity. Most people don't even know what equity is or how to go into court on equity. It's not hard. But just through the paperwork, we can go into a federal court in equity in front of a federal probate judge and make the man whole. And I didn't need State Farm to do it. Because a lot of times they'll underpay the claim. I'm overpaying the claim. Which is better? My way or State Farm's way? God's way. My way is God's way. See? It doesn't say follow the straight path for any reason. Just telling you. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And that's how we should treat our fellow man. To be a state national is putting yourself on a higher standard. Loving each other. Doing what's right. Following God's ways. And taking care of your business by taking dominion of the land, the air, and the water, and everything therein, and subduing it. To know it. To understand it. To understand how it works. And that's going to take a lot of effort on your part. I know that because it doesn't matter how old you are, you've gone through all this, SMU for so long. All of it. You haven't learned real history. You haven't learned real law. You haven't learned any of it. You got to relearn everything. And it's all here. It's all here. That was the wrong zipper. Time to get the book back out. Here. I'd like to just spend a little time going through a few things. By the way, there's been briefs written by Cornell Law School on the Sustic UV Trust, everything. You guys can look all that up. You can read it. You can research it. It's on the Telegram channels. If you go to Bobby Lawrence's 1776 Reignited channel, you click on the top, it breaks down a menu. There's videos, there's files, there's all kinds of things on there. There's things put on there. There's over 100 Telegram channels dedicated to state nationals. This is the first real evidence that I found that describes our system better than I've read it in anything else. And that was it's the talk that Edward Mandell House, Colonel Edward Mandell House, gave to President Woodrow Wilson. Everyone should know this. I've been talking about it for 30 years. because it's one of the first things I found that puts everything together in perspective. In a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, Colonel Edward Mandell House predicated the banksters' plans to enslave the American people. And in that meeting, he told President Woodrow Wilson this: "Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property." That's you and your children. "In a national system designed to keep track of the people and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging." The Pledge of Allegiance is one of the most misunderstood things in America today amongst Christians.